Just about every Aussie loves a good drink. And if you're going to have a drink, you might as well get pissed. My name is Adam Fowler, and this is how I viewed alcohol ever since I first started drinking as a teenager. I always thought my habits were normal, but in reality, less than 10% of Australians drink as much as I do. Now that I'm 25 and becoming more career focused, I figured it was about time to reevaluate how much I drink. So recently, I decided to take 3 months off from alcohol so I could better understand what it means to be one standard drinker. See, in my social circles, my habits did seem fairly standard, and I never thought I had a drinking problem. But I'd be having somewhere between 12 and 24 standard drinks every time. In my eyes, there wasn't much point in having a drink unless you were going to feel drunk. And feeling drunk meant binge drinking. But over the last 6 months, my attitudes towards my career and my future began to change, and I started to think back to all the low points in my drinking history. I remembered the times when I drunkenly accessed my internet banking and drained my savings account. The times when I woke up with an injury that I didn't remember receiving, or when I broke or drowned my mobile phone. I started to contemplate maybe taking a bit of time off drinking, and that's when I found out about Hello Sunday Morning.
Hello Sunday Morning is an online movement to help recreate Australia and the rest of the world's drinking culture one Sunday at a time. How it works is people simply sign up and they go for an extended period without drinking. Most people choose the 12-week, but then also provides them a way to share their story.
How do you find the blogging helps with people who do Hello Sunday Morning?
It stops you from thinking, well, maybe I could, just have one drink and no one would really know. Making it very public means that decision's already made. That blogging component gives a greater sense of accountability.
So I signed up and started my 3 months of sobriety. I was excited and enthusiastic, and I anticipated drastic improvements to my health, my finances, and my social capabilities. I started blogging and recording video diaries so that I could share my experiences now that I was living without alcohol. I was definitely feeling better, so I decided to start a health plan which included better food choices and more exercise. And it started paying off.
If we can go straight to the results, there has been a significant improvement in your liver function. As I pointed out to you, you had evidence of some alcohol-related liver dysfunction. And one of the enzymes in the liver, the ALT, was raised to 45, which was just above normal, but now your level is 19, which is right in the mid-range of where it should be. Also, you can see that another enzyme here has come down as well to a very healthy range, which means you no longer have any fatty infiltration of your liver due to the alcohol effect.
I also started thinking about why I drank the way I did, and I realised one thing. You see, most people who drink a lot, they have people or a period in their past which influences the way they drink, and I realised I had a few of them. So high school is where I first started binge drinking, but college is where I perfected it. See, after leaving home to go to university, I lived at an on-campus college, where it was kind of a cross between a boarding school and a frat house, and boy did those guys know how to drink.
We didn't need reasons. We'd invent them.
Oh, my favourite was probably drink a shot of tequila for every cutaway in Family Guy. Well, we got about 2 minutes into the show.
I remember once we got really wasted for the anniversary of some guy breaking up with his first girlfriend like 4 years after the fact.
There were dozens of these drinking events every year. And even if there wasn't anything on, it wouldn't matter which day of the week it was, there was always someone to get wasted with. After college, I moved into a share house with my cousin Ryan. This is where I encountered another contributing factor to my drinking habits, my family. And in my family, big parties means lots of drinking.
Yeah, mainly anything really, 21st, 18th, 50th.
Christmas, Easter, first birthdays, baby showers.
Weddings, engagements.
Everything.
And then there's the most recent influence on my drinking habits, my work. See, after dropping out of university, I decided to embrace the cliche and got a job in the one field where I knew I was well educated, bartending. Now you'd think maybe serving drunk people all the time would make you want to drink a little less. But in reality, serving drunk people just makes you want to drink more.
Hospo workers drink so much because they have no other social outlet.
We justify it because no one else sees it.
The only people you get to spend time with are the people you work with.
We get it done between the hours of 2 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and we just turn up for work the next day.
With all these contributing factors in my drinking history, it was no wonder that I drank the way I did. And the longer I went without alcohol, the more clearly I could see it. For instance, I had to find a photo of myself to use in my blog, so I went on Facebook to find one. And I noticed something kind of alarming. It made me realise that most of my social interactions were based around drinking with friends, and that since I'd taken 3 months off from alcohol, my social life had died off significantly. I had tried going out to the pub and to drinking events, but instead of feeling liberated by my abstinence, I found myself on the outside, wishing I could have a drink and join in. As I neared the end of my 3 months, I started to realise that I wasn't going to achieve all my goals I'd set. I hadn't kept my social life intact despite being sober. I hadn't saved all that much money. And while I did lose 5 kilos in the first 5 weeks, my health regime kind of tapered off after that. And to top it all off, for the last 2 weeks, just about all I could think of was having a drink at the end of it. There came a point where I was a little disenchanted by the whole journey, and I was wondering if the whole thing was all that worthwhile. Until I realised that I'd been naively expecting sobriety to just fix all my problems. It was only until I was at the end of my 3 months where I realised exactly what Hello Sunday Morning had done for me. You see, for some people who do it, they kind of know where they stand with alcohol. They know how it affects them and what will happen when they give it up. But for me, it wasn't that simple. I think the biggest thing I took away from Hello Sunday Morning was that I was able to sort of view my drinking from a different light and sort of learn a lot about myself. But more importantly, I realised that alcohol itself wasn't the problem. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I realise that I love alcohol. I love how it helps me relax and overcome my awkwardness, whether it's mingling with strangers at a party or if it's having the courage to approach a pretty girl at a bar. Well, I mean, it doesn't always work, but there's other things too, like catching up with a mate over a beer or celebrating with an expensive glass of scotch. I really do love alcohol. So many reasons independent of getting drunk. How much alcohol would you recommend is a healthy amount to drink?
The general advice is between 2 and 4 standard drinks per day is considered healthy and, good for you. So generally I would advise people to have no more than 6 standard drinks in a session.
What I realise now is that I'll probably never give up drinking for good. That being said, I still think the 3 months off was really beneficial for me, and I might do another 3 months next year. What I have to figure out though is how much I'm going to drink now that I'm finished. What do most people do when they finish their Hello Sunday Morning journey?
There's 3 groups of people that finish Hello Sunday Morning. There's 2 small groups. One is people that end up finishing their Hello Sunday Morning and they have a big night and they sort of remember the next morning why they were doing Hello Sunday Morning in the first place. And usually their drinking moderates after that. The second group of people is people that hardly ever drink again. And that sort of comes from people realising that maybe, not drinking is probably their best option from doing this, and this is the experience that they want. But the vast majority of people simply reduce their drinking at quite a significant level, from hazardous to moderate.
I think you'll still drink quite a lot, but maybe selectively.
You'll reduce your drinking for a while, and then we're going to see it creep back. Yeah.
You'll go back to your old ways, but your liver has changed for the better. I think you'll be a little bit more wise about that.
I'd like to think that after everything I've learned, I'll choose to just have a few drinks and enjoy my night somewhat responsibly. But I do know that once I get a drink in my hand, 10 years of binge drinking history and a bit of peer pressure from my mates might be too much to resist. I guess what I really hope is that even if I was to cave in and get drunk, I still wouldn't disregard everything I've learned. And if all I could do was cut down my instances of irresponsible drinking by half, then it still will be worthwhile. As for what happens now, well, I guess time will tell.